National Electrical Code Section 250.122 subsection dictates the requirements for equipment grounding conductor size. The section states that the equipment grounding conductor shall not be smaller than the circuit conductor supplying the equipment, but shall not be required to be larger than the circuit conductor supplying the equipment. In the scenario of a 4000 amp feeder using 12 600 mil conductors per phase, a 600 mil grounding conductor is acceptable. This is because the code explicitly states that the grounding conductor does not need to be larger than the individual phase conductors. It is crucial to understand that National Electrical Code Section 250.122 subsection A does not differentiate between parallel and non-parallel conductor applications. Therefore, the rule applies equally to both scenarios. The interpretation suggesting that the grounding conductor must be larger than 600 mil in a parallel conductor application for a 4000 amp feeder is not supported by the National Electrical Code. Therefore, using a 600 mil grounding conductor for a 4000 amp feeder with 12 600 mil conductors per phase is compliant with National Electrical Code standards. When dealing with electrical installations, ensuring compliance with the National Electrical Code is paramount. Grounding conductors play a critical role in electrical safety, providing a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source, thus facilitating the operation of overcurrent protective devices. Properly sized grounding conductors are essential for minimizing the risk of electrical shock and fire hazards. Now let's consider the steps in determining the appropriate size for a grounding conductor. Firstly, determine the size of the ungrounded, or phase conductors. Secondly, refer to National Electrical Code Table 250.122 to ascertain the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor based on the size of the ungrounded conductors. If the ungrounded conductors are installed in parallel, the equipment grounding conductor can be sized based on the size of one of the parallel sets of ungrounded conductors. However, it must not be smaller than required by Table 250.122 based on the overcurrent protective device protecting the circuit. As stated earlier, the equipment grounding conductor is not required to be larger than the circuit conductor supplying the equipment. This provision allows for practical and cost-effective grounding solutions, particularly in large feeder applications. Now let's clarify some common misconceptions about grounding conductor sizing. One misconception is that the grounding conductor must always be the same size as the ungrounded conductors. This is not always the case, as National Electrical Code Table 250.122 provides guidance on the minimum allowable size of the grounding conductor. Another misconception is that the grounding conductor must be increased in size when conductors are installed in parallel. While it's true that the grounding conductor must be sized appropriately for the fault current it may carry, it does not necessarily need to be increased proportionally to the number of parallel conductors. Now let's delve deeper into the application of National Electrical Code Section 250.122 in different scenarios. Consider a scenario where a 2000 amp feeder is supplying power to a large piece of equipment. The feeder consists of 6 500 mil conductors per phase installed in separate conduits. According to National Electrical Code Table 250.122, the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor for a 500 mil conductor is 1/0 American wire gauge copper. In this case, a single 1/0 American wire gauge copper conductor can be installed in each conduit alongside the phase conductors, providing an effective grounding path. Now let's consider a situation where a 480-volt, three-phase system is feeding a motor control center. The feeder consists of three 350 mil conductors per phase, protected by a 400 amp circuit breaker. According to National Electrical Code Table 250.122, the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor for a 350 mil conductor is number 3 American wire gauge copper. In this scenario, a number 3 American wire gauge copper conductor can be installed alongside the phase conductors, ensuring adequate grounding protection. Understanding the principles behind grounding conductor sizing is crucial for ensuring electrical safety. Grounding conductors provide a low impedance path for fault currents to flow back to the source, allowing overcurrent protective devices to quickly trip and clear the fault. This minimizes the risk of electrical shock, fire, and equipment damage. It's important to note that the National Electrical Code provides minimum requirements for grounding conductor sizing. In some cases, it may be necessary to increase the size of the grounding conductor to accommodate higher fault currents or to meet specific project requirements. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer is always recommended to ensure that the grounding system is properly designed and installed. Now let's discuss the importance of proper grounding conductor installation. The grounding conductor must be securely connected to the equipment grounding terminals in the electrical panels and equipment enclosures. Proper termination techniques, such as using compression connectors or exothermic welding, should be employed to ensure a reliable connection. The grounding conductor should also be run in close proximity to the phase conductors to minimize impedance and voltage drop. This helps to ensure that fault currents can quickly and easily return to the source, allowing overcurrent protective devices to operate effectively. Regular inspection and maintenance of the grounding system are essential for ensuring its continued effectiveness. Grounding connections should be checked periodically for corrosion, damage, or looseness. Any issues should be promptly addressed to maintain the integrity of the grounding system. Let's explore the role of bonding in electrical grounding systems. Bonding is the process of connecting together all metal parts of an electrical system to create a common ground potential. This helps to minimize voltage differences between metal parts, reducing the risk of electrical shock. Bonding is typically achieved by using bonding jumpers, which are short lengths of wire that connect metal enclosures, conduits, and equipment frames. Bonding jumpers should be sized appropriately for the fault current they may carry and should be securely connected using approved methods. The National Electrical Code provides specific requirements for bonding in different types of electrical systems. Compliance with these requirements is essential for ensuring electrical safety. Now let's examine the relationship between grounding and surge protection. Surge protection devices are designed to protect electrical equipment from voltage surges caused by lightning, utility switching, or other transient events. Surge protection devices work by diverting excess voltage to ground, preventing it from reaching sensitive electronic components. A properly designed grounding system is essential for the effective operation of surge protection devices. The grounding system provides a low impedance path for surge currents to flow to ground, minimizing the voltage stress on the protected equipment. It's important to note that surge protection devices are not a substitute for proper grounding. Surge protection devices should be used in conjunction with a well-designed grounding system to provide comprehensive protection against voltage surges. Now let's consider the differences between equipment grounding conductors and equipment bonding jumpers. An equipment grounding conductor is a conductor that connects the non-current carrying metal parts of equipment, raceways, and other enclosures to the system grounded conductor, the grounding electroconductor, or both, at the service equipment or at the source of a separately derived system. An equipment bonding jumper is a reliable conductor to ensure the required electrical conductivity between metal parts required to be electrically connected. They serve different purposes, but both contribute to the overall safety and effectiveness of the grounding system. It's also important to understand the concept of impedance in grounding systems. Impedance is the total opposition to current flow in an alternating current circuit. It includes resistance, which is the opposition to current flow due to the material's properties, and reactance, which is the opposition to current flow due to inductance and capacitance. In grounding systems, it's important to minimize impedance to ensure that fault currents can quickly and easily return to the source. High impedance can limit the flow of fault current, slowing down the operation of overcurrent protective devices and increasing the risk of electrical shock and fire. Factors that can contribute to high impedance in grounding systems include long conductor lengths, loose connections, and the use of improper materials. Now let's discuss the use of ground fault circuit interrupters, often called GFCIs, in electrical systems. Ground fault circuit interrupters are devices that are designed to protect people from electrical shock by detecting ground faults and quickly interrupting the circuit. Ground faults occur when current flows through an unintended path to ground, such as through a person's body. Ground fault circuit interrupters are required in many locations by the National Electrical Code, including bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. They provide an important layer of protection against electrical shock, especially in wet or damp environments. It's important to test ground fault circuit interrupters regularly to ensure that they are functioning properly. Testing can be done by pressing the test button on the device and verifying that the circuit is interrupted. Now let's explore the topic of isolated grounding systems. Isolated grounding systems are used in situations where sensitive electronic equipment is susceptible to noise or interference from the electrical system. In an isolated grounding system, the equipment grounding conductor is isolated from the building's main grounding system. This helps to prevent noise currents from flowing through the equipment grounding conductor, reducing the risk of interference. Isolated grounding systems should be designed and installed carefully to ensure that they comply with the National Electrical Code. They are typically used in hospitals, laboratories, and other facilities where sensitive electronic equipment is used. Now let's address the importance of documentation and labeling in electrical grounding systems. Proper documentation and labeling are essential for ensuring the safety and maintainability of electrical systems. Grounding conductors should be clearly labeled to indicate their purpose and size. Grounding connections should be documented in electrical drawings and schematics. This helps to ensure that electricians and other qualified personnel can easily identify and maintain the grounding system. Documentation should also include information about the grounding electrode system, bonding jumpers, and other components of the grounding system. Now let's touch on the use of aluminum conductors in grounding systems. Aluminum conductors are sometimes used in grounding systems, particularly in larger sizes. Aluminum conductors are lighter and less expensive than copper conductors, but they also have a higher resistance. When using aluminum conductors in grounding systems, it's important to ensure that they are properly sized and terminated. Aluminum conductors should be terminated using connectors that are specifically designed for use with aluminum. Antioxidant compounds should be used to prevent corrosion at the connections. The National Electrical Code provides specific requirements for the use of aluminum conductors in grounding systems. Finally, it's important to stay up to date with the latest changes to the National Electrical Code. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. Staying informed about the latest code requirements is essential for ensuring that electrical systems are designed and installed safely and in compliance with applicable standards. The National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, offers training and resources to help electricians and other qualified personnel stay up to date with the National Electrical Code. By understanding the principles behind grounding conductor sizing, proper installation techniques, and the latest code requirements, electrical professionals can help to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Remember that consulting with a qualified electrical engineer is always recommended when designing or installing complex electrical systems. These complex situations may include those involving parallel conductors or feeders supplying critical loads.